If you apply heat to something, you agitate the molecules, they become hot, they become angry, they scurry around, they hit each other, and the result is pain if you touch that heat. A similar thing, according to my background, happened at the time of the fall. It is a complex matter, and it took place over many, many years, as we would understand it, as you would understand it. But the effect of that speeding up, of second-guessing God, of saying, we know a better way, was to create conflict. Heat is the easiest word I can think of. We agitated the molecules of this world and created anger, created need, and cut ourselves off from God, not the other way around. Cut ourselves off in physical consciousness, not in spiritual consciousness. This is why we always talk about the heart mind, to reconnect yourself to God on a daily basis. We cut ourselves off from God. And instead of this area of space, this area of illusion, being fed by God energy, being channeled through His angels, the energy was contained, the aggravated energy was contained within a field, a closed field of consciousness. And then began the troubles that you perceive now. Then began the illness, the disharmony, the war, the anger, the seeking for power, the lust, which are all symptoms of the original experiment, if you like, that went wrong. Of the speeding up of the vibrationary process on a physical level. Things happen in this world too quickly. Too quickly, because the molecules are set at a rate in which they cannot decay completely, neither can they be recreated completely via the souls of men and women and children on earth. So the field is a finite cloud area of energy. Finite. This is why our message is so important at this time. The energy is running out. You have to begin feeding the field from outside of itself, as it were, from the God power outside of itself. You have to begin feeding yourselves with God energy, not with energy from the field, which is polluted like the grid lines we talked about earlier. Then you begin to change the effects of the fall. We've talked about simplicity tonight. I am a simple man. I studied many times. I studied in great cathedrals. I studied in great temples. I studied military history during one lifetime. But my mission is simple. And I become worried sometimes by the complexities of literature, spiritual literature on this level of consciousness, and also, forgive me, Father, by the promptings of some of my fellow workers. But that is my point of view. My view of the earth is that the earth is simple, that the earth field went wrong because of the souls within it choosing a way that divorced them physically, materially from God, and that we are here to put things right. You may well be correct about DNA. I do not know. I can only say from my point of view and from my group's point of view that our way of rectifying everything that is wrong in this world is to bring light into it, is to restore the connection, if you like. You are talking about connections, is to put the plug in between the human being and God once more, so that the energy flows, so that the energy flows into the field, so that the field is not allowed to destroy itself, to implode, and it is replenished by positive energies, and the world changes, and, ladies and gentlemen, is saved. Is saved. Is that a sufficient answer?
Very much so.
Thank you.
Joseph, good evening.
Good evening.
Could I ask, something you said earlier about always sending love to people you perhaps don't like, but is there ever an occasion where someone perhaps has such negative, dark energies that you should just walk away? Or should we always try and send love and light to that person?
If the person has, thank you for that question, if the person has terrible dark energies, you should always walk away. But you walk away physically. You do not have to walk away mentally. And you should not be afraid of someone who seems to exhibit dark energy. You should send the light out to them in the dark, as it were, without them knowing. You do not have to tell them. You should send out light to them and surround them with light almost as a subconscious exercise, so that that person is being fed by light, the correct type of light, from some source. Otherwise, if that person is truly steeped in the darkness of the world, in the darkness and negativity of the field, then they are being fed only by the field, and how can they ever change? How can they ever change? If you will not be a champion for them, who will? It begins by one person recognizing the light within each soul, by saying, I do not agree with what you are doing. I do not agree with how you are. I do not agree with how you treat me. And I will not on a conscious level allow you to treat me that way. But on a spiritual level, I will send you my unconditional love. Because I know that there is a seed of God within you that wants, that longs to grow out into the light. And can only grow if I and others like me send out light to you. It seems frightening on this level. It seems that there are certain people who can crush you, who can damage you, who can cause you pain, who are greater than the light within. They are never greater than the light within. If they kill you, they don't kill you. They take away the physical illusion, but you are still there as a spirit. They've accomplished nothing. They cannot harm you. So you should never, in any circumstances, be afraid if you have God and light within you on your side, which you do. That is not to say that you are foolish and that you confront people physically. In confronting people physically, you can come to harm. And you are not confronting them spiritually. You are simply sending out the light to them. A ray which will feed them. That is what you are doing. You are feeding them. And you must not be afraid that back along that ray that you are emanating will come their lack of positivity, their evil, for want of a better word. It cannot. Your protection is the light that you are sending out. Remember too that you may be sending out the light to that person, but if they are not well liked, there may be 100, 1,000 people sending out anger to them. It has to stop. We have to make a stand. And we do not make a stand with the people that we love. We do not pick up the little puppy and say, I am sending light out to you, and it is terribly difficult. Of course you send out light to the little puppy, but you also send out light to those that it is most difficult to love, because they need it most. And they are trapped just as you are trapped. They have simply lost their way and are struggling on a physical level to express themselves, and are expressing themselves in an unacceptable manner physically. But they are still a spirit. They are still loved by you at God level. They are always loved by God no matter what they do. So you have to exhibit that God love in attempting, in being part of the change that must come to them. Does that make sense to you?
Complete sense, yes, thank you. And
Thank
especially for the bit about worrying about the light, the positive and negativity coming back.
Your light is your armour. Yeah. Remember, if you will, the vision of the Archangel Michael, with the sword of light, with the sword of truth, with the light, the armour of light. And there is a fight going on, but the fight is not a war. The fight is an attempt to change consciousness. And the sword is a symbol because the sword cuts through the darkness like a knife, and the darkness disappears.